Hello, this is Steve in Carpinteria in the mobile home park with the one tree. I've been here now 18 years. And anyway, last year I got almost 900 pounds off of this tree. And this year there was very little set after that big set, and I might hardly get 100 pounds. And anyway, but then for next year, there's quite a bit of fruit again. Here's the new fruit. There's one of the few from that set last year. I call it 2021, class of 2021. And well, that's getting ready to pick. And anyway, there's an old one, class of 2021. This we'll call this class of 2022, which will be ready to harvest possibly very end of this year, but more likely in the spring of next year, March or April. And so here you can see it's a pretty good crop. It won't be as big as 2020. That was a monster. And I don't think it'll be that big. But you can see, you know, it's surprising. There's a lot of fruit here, in certain areas anyway. And also, I wanted to show you some off bloom. That means, well, here's some new growth right in there. And here's this is some bloom. This is late bloom. And this, if they set fruit, it'll look a little different. It'll be a smoother skin and a rounder looking fruit. But it'll be just as good. It'll be very good. You won't be able to taste the difference. And it'll give you a chance for a second crop in the same year. Now, we'll just take a quick look over here at my neighbor. Now, he planted in 2014. So that makes him 8 years old. And he planted far differently. I farmed avocados, and we planted them 16 by 20 feet or 20 by 20 feet. A lot of distance between them. And you might get 100 to 120 trees per acre. Now, this newer method, they plant them much closer together. The rows might only be, I haven't measured, but let's say they're 14 feet apart, 12 to 14 feet apart. You can see this is the row closest to me here, and then there's another one there. But they've also, you have to stay on top of it, and they're already, you can see how much they're cutting down, cutting away, and eventually they'll probably completely eliminate these trees as they get bigger and bigger, and it becomes impractical to simply take a few branches off. But it is possibly the best way to maximize your production is to plant them close together. And you can see here there'll be more labor trimming them, because in the old, you know, I wouldn't have to trim my trees 20 feet apart for a long time. Although, even those, you know, look how tall these are. They've already started to top them. And I've always said that I don't like them much more than 12 feet high. And that might be over 12 feet. I haven't measured it, but if you can pick them from the ground with a picking pole, that's the ideal. But of course, some of these professional pickers, they can climb right up these trees. It's a little more hazardous, but they do it. They're young and strong. They just climb right up them. I hired a guy to, oh look, I got a hawk up in my tree. There's like a branch way up high, and I'm not going to trim it, but the crows, and here there's a hawk. It's a nice lookout for them. But anyway, this worker of mine, is maybe in his 30s. I mean, he just went right up that tree, and then of course I used to be able to do that, but not anymore. But so anyway, and then they also put this, they also have been putting them on mounds. Instead of a mound, they just do an elevated row, you can see here. And the idea, I guess, is to keep the roots from getting too wet, keep them, because they don't like having wet feet, wet roots. I don't know whether, you know, it's all, everything in life's experimental, and it's good to try different things and then compare the results over time. If the initial investment, you're going to be out 3 or 4 times the initial investment in buying the trees, which are now, I don't know, they must be $30, $40, $50 for a tree. I'm not sure. I mean, I used to pay $5 to $10 in 1980 to 1990 for a tree. And they have different root stocks. That was a new thing that you can get. They call them clonals, and supposedly root rot resistant. Duke 7 was one of the earliest ones, and you pay almost double for a root stock because it's very labor intensive. Anyway, these are haws, avocados. They're just the best. Carpinteria is just a fantastic area. And there's a pretty good groundwater situation because those San Ynez Mountains there, that's where I farmed, way up there, halfway up. And you get over 30 inches of rain on average up on the upper slopes there. On the ocean side, it may not be as much once you cross over, but quite a bit of rain, and then it just comes down and percolates into the ground here, groundwater. Although I understand now they want to start monitoring groundwater and and you know, it's just going to be difficult, I think, to farm in the future. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you. Bye.